Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
You don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the US.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to War Room Pandemic. We just heard from the little guy. This is the people that are going to have to unlock their stores, unlock their organizations, their institutions over the coming week. If we're to have this comeback, of course, he opens it up, and what happens? The police show up and say, "Hey, are you open or not?" Right? This shouldn't have to happen to an American entrepreneur, particularly somebody that served his country and is trying to make the payroll. Right? He had the very interesting, the pre-interview we talked about. He said, look, this whole real estate, the commercial real estate business, and he says you got Neiman Marcus, you got Barney's, you got all these guys going bankrupt. He said everything on Madison Avenue doesn't make money anyway. They're all advertising fronts for Hermes and all this. He just said, hey, if you guys and people in Washington, D.C. think this thing's going to come roaring back, you are sadly mistaken. He says this has to be thought through. It has to be thought through, and we have to have an organized plan to reopen it. And he was also talking about the liability insurance. Right, all these guys, they want to go back to work. He and his whole staff showed up. Right, they're ready to roll. So we got to think this thing through.
Well, and here's the other thing too: as someone who very much is a fan of a nice suit, what do you need to wear a suit for anymore?
No, he said this is a big issue. The whole thing, in a nice suit. Isn't not like if you got a rack of 5 of them, you don't need, normally the styles change. You want to look a little crisper. Guys like you in that business looking good in New York has always been big. It's right now like, hey, I'm working from home. I tell you, the whole commercial real estate thing in New York, because I know so many of the hedge fund guys and the banks are saying, hey, we're actually seeing more productivity because guys aren't taking, 3 hours a day to do a 90-minute commute in from Connecticut or New Jersey, and the 90-minute commute back. We're seeing more productivity than we've ever seen. Before I get Gertz on here, we got Bill Gertz, the renowned columnist and investigative reporter of the Washington Times, with a brand new book or a monograph that's up online you got to read. I want to teeing it up. I want to talk about the CCP and the information war because Bill Gertz has been the recipient of that because he's such a cutting-edge investigative journalist. What have you found out just since you're now the new tip of the spear in the information war against this Chinese Communist Party? Raheem, you've seen how phony – I mean, it's pretty shocking how blatantly phony this is.
I am surprised, and I'm not somebody who comes at this with rose-tinted spectacles on. I think we all know that, and have all known in our hearts to some extent, that all foreign adversaries have something going on, here in the United States, here in the Western world, have their, as my intelligence studies tutor told me at college, you think that many people need Chinese acupuncture in London, all these, front shops and everything around the place. But when we've started to dig into some of this, the output and the scale of the output from CCP, fully, wholly owned and operated organizations, CCTV, CGTN, Xinhua, all of these guys, and you look on a day-to-day basis of what they're doing, what narratives they're pushing, and how they're putting the line out there. Well, on any one given day, CGTN, which is the CCP's global outfit, as you told me, Steve,
this is launched in London. By the way, with all former BBC guys and Sky News guys making big dollars, right, or big pounds, I should say, to do this. This is all Westerners on their payroll that have launched this as a propaganda arm.
And if you think back to the furore that we heard about Russia Today and Sputnik and all this, it makes them look like minnows in comparison, and they are minnows in comparison. CGTN pumps out on an average day, I think up to 30 propaganda just written op-eds on their website. We're not even talking yet about the video content, the social media, the digital media content. And day upon day, you look at people, and we're doing investigations into this one guy yesterday who came across our radar because he did a story about you, Steve. And that's it. You know, I still have my Google alerts on you. So I came across this guy, Tom Fowdy. And Tom Fowdy, when I just asked him on Twitter, hey man, like, what are you doing working? And we actually have some friends in common on LinkedIn. He's based in London. He went to Durham University. I asked him, hey man, what are you doing publishing for the CCP on their website? He went wild, threatened to sue me, then blocked me, then locked his entire account, blocked about a couple of dozen other people. And we've been going through his social media, his work, everything, because he claims he's not being paid by the CCP. But on his LinkedIn, he calls himself a social media consultant for CGTN. He produces videos for them, and he's just written another op-ed. The op-ed is entitled, "The Daily Express Ignores That China Leads in Vaccine Development." Now, if that's not in-your-face propaganda, I don't know what is. And so we'll have a story popping in the next couple of hours on the full story on who is Tom Fowdy, which goes to the deeper question. How are these people ending up working for the CCP? Why are they working for the CCP? And how many of them are there out there? We will get to the bottom of every single one. I promise you that.
Raheem, it raises an interesting question. How did they become the experts at vaccine production? What kind of secret investigations are they doing in Chinese laboratories that would allow them to claim to be leaders in vaccine production?
Gain of function. We'll get to all that in another episode. Gain of function. Write that down. Hashtag.
Here's something from some of our viewers, which I think is really nice. We had on Mr. Rabin, and we had so many people come forward and say, hey, buy from this guy's shop. Somebody said, in today's world, be an Elliot. And then there was a lovely comment from one of our viewers. She said, in 2009, I found some lovely dresses at Peter Elliot's shop for women in New York, where I lived at the time. Why does this matter? I had just undergone cancer treatment and looked like hell. Those dresses lifted my spirit. I will forever be grateful for that shop.
Wow. Hashtag war and pandemic. Great. That's a great testimonial right there. Fantastic. We will get those to Elliot Rabin.
And I checked out, Peter, some great pocket squares, Jason. I think you and I need to make a trip.
Okay. Maybe you get online or get up there the first.
But he doesn't sell Samuelson suits, though. That was the only thing. I did some searching online. we got to talk. Steve, give me his number.
I want to bring in now Bill Gertz, a real warrior, with a new. Bill, talk to us about your new book. Why is it important, and why do people have to read it today? I love the title of it.
Yeah, hey, great, Steve. Hey, congrats on being targeted by the CCP. That's a real feather in your cap. Yeah.
Well, hold it. I just took you off. Hang on. I just took you off. That used to be public enemy number one. Now I'm new public enemy number one. You're like the old John Dillinger, right? I replaced you as public enemy number one. So it got you a little breathing room for a moment.
Yes. Yeah, you were correct in your intro on this. In my new book, How China's Communist Party Made the World Sick, I make the point that on January 26th in the Washington Times, I was the first to report that this was a lab escape, that this virus came from a lab and that it was linked to the Chinese bioweapons program. And I was roundly attacked. The Chinese embassy in Washington attacked me. USA Today, Facebook, they tried to say that it was fake news. It's holding up pretty well. I think it's clear now that we're really seeing that this was a nefarious activity by the Chinese Communist Party. They've covered up all evidence of the laboratory work. They're silenced all of the researchers, many of whom were closely allied with many of the American scientists, which is also hampering U.S. intelligence efforts to try to get to the bottom of how this outbreak began.
Well, let's go to you made this leap to a bioweapons program. If memory serves me correctly, I thought they're a signatory from 1984 of the treaty that says you cannot have a bioweapons program. What do you mean a bioweapons program? This comes as a shock to people. What are you talking about? You're not supposed, they signed a treaty that says you can't have a bioweapons program. So how do they have one?
Yeah, this is really an important story, and only in the Trump administration did it come out. The government bureaucracy at the State Department and in the intelligence community for years blocked concerns about China's bioweapons program. And it wasn't until 2019 that the annual compliance report by the State Department came out, and it identified serious concerns about China's past offensive biological weapons program. In other words, China never came clean on what kind of research it was doing. And so this is a major concern. They were doing some really, really scary stuff. In fact, I'm working on a major story right now about the China bioweapons program.
Listen, this is what I don't understand. How did Dr. Fauci in 2018, I think in 2017, he lifted the restrictions on gain-of-function research over at NIH. And Dr. Fauci's Department of Infectious Disease, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jack, he was the funder of the private company, the Alliance, Echo Alliance, and I think even through the University of Texas at Galveston, to basically give Wuhan the monies to start doing some of this research. How did NIH not read the State Department's concern about the bioweapons program? How does that happen in the United States government? How do we not have the NIH guys actually fund, which is one of the foundational elements? Write it down, gain of function, right? How does Fauci do that when the State Department's saying, hey, we got to take a harder look at these guys and whether they actually have a bioweapons program or not?
Very important question you raised there. First of all, you have to understand that the American scientific community was in love with the Chinese. They have been doing research over there because there's no restrictions. There's no controls. There's no regulations. So all of the difficult experimentation such as gain of function, that is very restricted in this country, the American scientific community has been doing it in China. So they're in bed with the Chinese scientific community, including Dr. Shujung Li, the Batwoman of Wuhan, and this is a real problem. They actually fund it. In my new book on how China's Communist Party made the world sick, one of the key recommendations that I make is that the United States cut off all training for Chinese technical personnel and managerial personnel. All of those people in those labs, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, they all got their training in the United States, and they used it for ill purposes.
Bill, how do people get access to your book? How do they get more access to you? Because you're one of the great voices, and the reason you're such a great American patriot, everybody should understand this. There's very few Americans in this country that have been basically gone through what Bill Gertz goes through. I mean, Bill Gertz is attacked constantly by the Wu Mao 50 Cent Army. His family's attacked. He's under constant pressure by the Chinese Communist Party. And the reason is, for years and years and for decades, he's been calling out like John the Baptist, a voice in the wilderness, to tell us, hey, guys, there's a problem. They're at war with you. And the elites look the other way in finances. How do people get access to the book? How do they get access to more of your writings?
Sure. My writings are all posted on my website. It's gertzfile.com. And the book is available on Amazon. It just came out in digital form yesterday. It will be out in a print version. It's an e-book. It's kind of shorter than a full book, but longer than a monograph. And it's a real eye-opening look at how China covered up, lied, and deceived, and really created a crime against humanity with this virus.
Bill Gertz, Washington Times, thank you very much for joining us, Bill. Appreciate it. Hashtag War Room Pandemic. Here's the power of Gertz's. By the way, we're going to eventually get our technical issues worked out so we can see Bill live on the Skype, or I'll continue to throw temper tantrums. Production team of War Room Pandemic, which is always a pleasant sight.
I'm going to start broadcasting the breaks.
Yeah, no, they're the most interesting thing. Remember the name Bruno Wu. Bruno Wu is another gangster. There's another gangster wandering around the United States. Bruno Wu is personally trying to always destroy Bill Gertz. He's another agent of the Chinese Communist Party. Hey, Bruno, you don't like it, sue me, okay? You're another bad dude wandering around the United States, going after guys like Bill Gertz constantly. Right, Bill Gertz is an American hero, an American patriot. We're going to go all over and push this new book of his. You've got to read it. It's going to keep you up at nights, and it should keep you up at nights. America's not angry enough about who did this. It's not the governor of Michigan. It's not the governor of Virginia. It's not the governor of Ohio. It's not Mayor de Blasio. It's not Governor Abbott. Okay, it's not Governor DeSantis. It's not the mayor of your hometown. right? Everybody's trying to work through this. We're humans. It's imperfect. I got that. The problem in your anger has to be at the Chinese Communist Party in Beijing that's done this to the Chinese people and to you. We're going to return in a minute and discuss all of this on War and Pandemic.
The hottest new razor is taking the men's grooming world by storm. And if you don't have it, you need it. MicroTouch Solo, the hyper-advanced full-body razor that trims, shapes, edges, and even shaves with micro-precision. And it's totally safe to the touch. Go solo for full-body control with one tool. No nicks, bumps, or ingrown hairs. Edge beards and goatees with one touch. Clean your neck, barber shop perfect. And check this out. Snap on the guide to tame growth and perfectly shape your full beard. And keep new growth stubble trimmed exactly to your style. And look, the Solo Full Body Groomer trims precisely the length of hair you want. Snap off the guide and remove unwanted hair anywhere in seconds. What makes Solo different than your ordinary razor? Dual-sided German stainless steel blade. Shave up or down at 200 microstrokes per second. The Ultra Flex pivoting head contours perfectly to you for precise results. 3 custom grooming guides for control of exact length and shape. And a built-in LED light so you never miss a spot. Solo is so precise, you need no creams, no soaps, and no water. Ditch the old man clippers and toss the scissors. You've got to go solo. Call 1-800-709-9777 or go online at microtouchsolo.com and get yours now for only $19.99. Complete with German stainless steel blade, pivoting head, built-in spotlight, and 3 custom grooming guides. Everything you see here for just $19.99. The all-new MicroTouch Solo Full Body Groomer. The one tool that does it all.
In the last year, there were 3 victims of cybercrime every second. When a criminal has your personal information, they can do all sorts of things in your name. Criminals can use ransomware, spyware, or malware to gain access to information, like your name, your birthday, and even your social security number.
That's why Norton and LifeLock are now part of one company, providing an all-in-one membership for your cyber safety that gives you identity theft protection, device security, a VPN for online privacy, and more. And if you have an identity theft problem, we'll work to fix it with our $1 million protection package.
There are new cyber threats out there every day. So protecting yourself isn't a one-time job, it's an ongoing need. Now is the time to make sure that you have the right plan in place. Don't wait.
Norton 360 with LifeLock. Use promo code GET25 to save 25% off your first year and get a free shredder with annual membership. Call now to start your membership or visit lifelock.com/TV.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room. They tried to kill Bill Gertz, at least information-wise, and they failed. And now Bill Gertz's voice is back, and he's got even a bigger platform because every day we push what Bill Gertz writes over at the Washington Times. Just a tremendous author, and he wrote the book. We're gonna get up our suggested reading list, but one you definitely should get: "Deceiving the Sky." This is it's not a page turner as far as a summer read. But it's a series read. You should get it. The Stealth War by Spalding, Deceiving the Sky by Gertz lays out the whole history of it. So you'll understand everything you need to understand. And, of course, he's come out with a new book today, how the Chinese Communist Party made the world sick. Okay? They're sick, and they made the world sick. And not enough people are focused their anger on the Chinese Communist Party. That's why you're broke. That's why you're you can't have your shop on. By the way, I got a lot of good feedback over the thing. Some people did have a problem with Elliot Rabin, and that was, how can he open and other people not? And this is going to get into this whole organized, we got to have some sort of plan. I agree. The guys are, if you set a strong regulation down, if you're just going to break that, is there a penalty to it, or is there a consensus? That's why New York City, I don't know how they're going to keep New York City locked down or the state locked down. I guess they're going to open up the state. I don't know how they're going to keep New York City locked down for another month or so.
You've seen videos circulating online as well of police going in armored vehicles that you'd expect to see in Iraq, pulling up outside bars in Texas because they had dared to open despite the easing policies.
How are we doing it? How's that doing?
By the way, Texas hair salons open up on Friday.
We're going.
What's that?
Are you flying down and getting a haircut?
No, because May 15 is when we think they're going to get open up in Virginia. I actually went on my barber's website yesterday to see if I could pre-book to get ahead of the jabronis who might not be thinking ahead. Can't yet book online, but guys, I'm ready.
You're
I'm
definitely ready.
Jason's in the bullpen, ready to.
I know it was my transition to manhood when I actually had my dad stop cutting my hair, and they it was official. I could go to a barber, right? They took me to a barber to pay the $3 or whatever it was to get the haircut.
So my old man shaves his head, so that wouldn't be my scene.
Your dad's he's a welder. That's a man's man. We ended up with you, right?
And he caught this massive fish yesterday. I'll tweet this out right now.
Okay. I want to go to, we got a world famine, but here's what I don't understand. The trade deal. All I see every day, Jack Maxey, is other, besides prisons and homes for the elderly, every meatpacking plant now in the Midwest seems like the ones in Iowa seems like it got an outbreak, right? Because they kept going to work, people were next to each other, whether it wasn't social distancing, however it happened. It broke out in these meatpacking plants, and we've seen the stories anecdotally, but Wendy's is not. Where's the beef? Because there's no beef. They're not selling hamburgers. You got Costco, which people go to Costco for the meats. No meat, right? Do we have enough meat? Why are we worried about the CCP? Why are we worried about a trade deal to send them American beef, pork, and chicken, right? When Americans can't, if every American can't get what is rightfully theirs of American beef, pork, and chicken. Why is the tributary state? We're Jamestown? We're a tributary state. We got to understand this. Okay, we got to understand this. The big thing about what by the way, what Gertz just brought up. Remember, the reason there's no factories here, the reason there's no high-paying jobs, is Wall Street with your money. This is the Greek tragedy part of it. You have to understand. In the audience, it's all your money. It's all the pension fund and insurance company money. It's the institutional capital managed by hedge funds, managed by private equity, managed by the banks, managed by venture capital firms. It's your money that shipped your jobs over to China. Just always remember this, right? The Facebook guys, those guys, they were all in Harvard dorms. They had no money. All the capital, all of it, came from you, the deplorables. It's all your pension funds, the cops, the nurses, the first responders, the teachers, right? The steel workers. If you got your little 401k, it's called institutional investing. It's all those guys. They get 20%. They get 20% of the ups. They get a fee. They get a 1% fee. That's how they're living in Greenwich, Connecticut, right? You get a $50 billion fund. You get 1% to do the deals, do due diligence, 1%, and you get 20% of the ups. It's all your money shifted over. And now Bill Gertz is telling you. The other nasty secret you're going to see is, guess what? Tony Fauci and the team, what have they been doing? They've been financing all the research, right? All this research. Why are they financing it and not here in the United States? Why are they financing overseas? Because there's not as many regulations on what they can do. Going to drill down. Where's Dr. Sanjay Gupta on that? Where's Chris Hayes on that? Where's the investigative apparatus of CNN? Where's the K-file? Hey, K-file, note to self. Instead of blowing up every conservative that happens to have a point of view, why don't the K-file, right? Why don't you get focused on something important, Zucker, right? Why don't CNN, with all your global apparatus, why are you not all over this situation? Has CNN been kicked out of Beijing yet? Has CNN been kicked out of Beijing yet?
No, they're in fact. I'm drawing a blank on the gentleman's name.
Washington Post and New York Times are kicked out. I talked to the reporter the other day. The Beijing guy for the Washington Post is in Seoul, Korea, right? Why are guys? They're all kicked out. New York Times, Washington Post, I think Wall Street Journal, all kicked out. Why is CNN? Why CNN? But Zucker, why? What is the excuse for why is CNN in Beijing? You know why? Running dog of CCP. Okay? Where's the K-file? Hey, K-file, you're called out. Where's your investigation of the lab? Where's your investigation of Fauci? Where's your investigation of University of Texas at Galveston? Where's your investigation of Echo Health Alliance? Where's your investigation of where American taxpayer dollars? It's a Persian. The book was called Once an Eagle, written back in the 70s, right? About two Army officers, but they got the saying "Once an Eagle." I think it's from a Persian poem or saying. Once an eagle, stricken by an arrow, said, "By my own hand, I am smitten." Right, because the arrow was made from an eagle's, wing or whatever it was. By my own hand, I am smitten. That's the story of the United States today. Once an eagle, right? You financed it. Are you mad yet? If you're sitting there with no job and no pension fund, right, and your kids are not going to have anything, and not just that, just don't think about the kids and the grandkids. Think of the 13, 14 generations that came before you. How disgusted they would be with us. And I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear about, it's the politicians, it's the guys on Wall Street. But guess what? We've allowed them all to be there, right? It's time to stand up. All your money, remember this, it was your money that took the factories and shipped it over, seized all the high-valued added jobs and allowed the fentanyl to come in here and destroy the country. And now you're going to find out your tax dollars, that was your pension fund. That was the insurance company money you put away. Now you're going to find out that your hard-earned tax money through the science-based and the database, you get this lecture every night from CNN and MSNBC over and over and over again. It's got to be science-based, got to be database, got to be evidence-based. Well, here's the evidence. We financed all this stuff, right? Why? Just heard Bill Gertz. They don't have the controls. You could do the Dr. Frankenstein experiments. How did the State Department have this thing in 2018 and 19 warning about, hey, I think they may still have an offensive bioweapons program? We're not saying, media matters before you get all worked up. We're not saying it came for that. We're just saying we want to get to the evidence. We want to get to the data. We want to get to fact-based. We want the CCP to open up, not just Wuhan, all the labs. This is a great thing. The buried lead in Pompeo. He said the other day, all the labs in China. Not just the lab in China, all the labs. Totally open up to World Health Organization. And no, it can't go in under Tedros. 2005, where's the 2005 agreement, right? The World Health Organization agreement to stop another SARS. Why did the nations of the world, particularly Hong Kong and all the guys that found it, why did the nations of the world come together? Because they understood in 2003 and 2004 the Chinese Communist Party looked you in the eye and lied to you about the SARS outbreak. And who were the victims of the SARS outbreak? If you said the Chinese people, guess what? Let's put that up on a vote. If you say this, remember, when you have CCP, when you go through their victims, if you put the Chinese people first, you're always going to get a right answer if you select A. It's the Chinese people. The Chinese Communist Party could care less. If 30, 40, 50 million of the Chinese die, they don't care. They could care less. That's just another day at the office. Right? Remember, there's of the 1.4 billion Chinese, and I actually think they got 1.5 because they got the migrant workers that are hard to count. Of the 1.4 billion, there's only 90 million in the Chinese Communist Party, and of that, only 1,000 matter, and of that, it's only the 12 families. That's the first act. You know what they got most? Somebody told me the other day, you know where they're most upset? You know I'm public enemy number one in CCTV, and why they put the thing out? Somebody said, Bannon, you went there. Seizing their personal assets. Seizing all the money they've stolen from the Chinese people. All Wan Shan, Xi, Bruno Wu, all these guys, all the money they stole from the Chinese people that they've put into, guess what, real estate in Manhattan, in Midtown Manhattan, in the west side of London, Belgravia, right?
Sydney, Vancouver, the list goes on and on.
Any place but China, right? Get their cash out. They're among the richest people in the world. They're multi-billion. I mean, forget they're tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. They've stolen from the Chinese people and put into the West. And guess what? All the law firms and the real estate owners and all the politicians, they all know this. It's not conspiracy theory. That's in your face. It's in your grill. Remember, I want you to be mad. I want you to be spitting mad. I want you to get really mad. It's your money. The reason you're broke, the reason you have no pension, the reason you can't open up your shop, the reason you say, hey, why can Elliot open his and I can't open mine? It's your fault. It's your fault. Let's take full responsibility collectively. It's our fault. It's our fault. And hey, and history is going to weigh and measure us. You think history is going to give us a pass? Oh, guess what? It was the elites on Wall Street. It was the elites in Washington. Political elites, they did it. No, you're going to be weighed and measured for what you do to get retribution. We're going to be back in a moment with the bondholders of American Bond Foundation.
This is the kind of card that has America talking. With it, people with Medicare are getting all-in-one coverage for their doctor visits, hospital care, prescription drugs, and more. This kind of insurance, called Medicare Part C, may also cover dental care, eyeglasses, hearing aids, fitness programs, vitamins, even healthy meals and rides to the doctor. With this kind of coverage, you do not need a Medicare supplement insurance plan. You will access your benefits through your Medicare Part C plan for one low and oftentimes $0 monthly plan premium. You deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits. Call now for free information that may help you get more coverage for less money. There is no obligation to enroll. Whether for yourself or someone you love, call the number on the screen now. Call now.
From roof to foundation, the damage to your home can be devastating, from clogged gutters, leaking roofs, rotting wood and fascia, and flooded basements. Protect your entire home with Leaf Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system. Once our ladders go up, you can put yours down forever.
One of the things that I like the most is that I don't have to get back on the ladder anymore.
Leaf Filter starts by cleaning, sealing, and realigning your gutters. We then install our micro mesh screen over your existing gutters, which is guaranteed to filter out everything except for water.
Trying other products is what made us finally go to Leaf Filter.
And Leaf Filter's lifetime transferable warranty makes it an extraordinary value.
Leaf Filter is going to make my home more valuable, especially when I go to sell it.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
Some people say dress your age. That's ridiculous. I dress how I feel. Yesterday, I felt bold with boundless energy. This morning, I woke up calm and unbreakable. Tomorrow, who knows? Age is just an illusion. How you show up for the world, that's what's real. What's your idea? I put it out there with the GoDaddy website. Make the world you want.
I see what's possible instead of what's here. Others see cracked concrete, broken backboards, run-down courts. I see a way to bring pride back to communities. Art can change it all. Bright colors, a bold vision, and it can be somewhere that brings people together for games or hangouts or whatever. A place that makes people proud, like this is my neighborhood. That's why I made Project Backboard and a site with GoDaddy. How will you make your mark and make the world you want?
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
We're in the CCP hour, so that is now the Once an Eagle hour. I want you to get mad. I want you to own this. This is your responsibility. It's time to stop saying these politicians, it's yours. And every day we're gonna roll out in front of you. Everybody says, Bannon, it's all good, hot, your hair's on fire, you're yelling and screaming, you're being a madman like you always are. Tell me what I got to do. Okay, here's what you got to do. You got to go to Curtis Ellis's, boycott China. You got to go to Bill Gertz and get his book. You got to go to. We're going to have Jana Bianca in a second about the American Bondholders Foundation. You got to find out as much information on them. There's all kind of actions. Every day we're going to roll out actions you can take. But I like that Once the Eagles. The hashtag War and Pandemic. I hope it hits you in the solar plexus. I hope you're getting mad now. You getting mad? It's your fault. Quit pointing the fingers at everybody else. It's your fault. Because you know what? Do you know the CCP, why I'm public enemy number one over there, but CCP's enemy number one? It's very simple. They don't want a woke America. They realize when the deplorables wake up, and the deplorables realize that Lao Baixing, old 100 names, over in China are actually their partners in this, right? The victims of the Chinese Communist Party, the Chinese people. That's when they realize the jig is up, right? That's what they don't want. Because they're in business with Wall Street. They're in business with the corporations. They got, what they say the other day, half the town's paid off by the CCP, the other half's paid off by the Saudis. That's why nothing happens. Why people come here and all of a sudden, I saw some congressman is on the other day and he was being interviewed. He says, yeah, all these guys talking about the sovereign immunity and this and that, but it's really hard and it's technical. I understand it's hard. You don't think it was hard in North Africa at Kasserine Pass? You don't think that was hard? Right? You don't think it's hard at Gettysburg up on that wall when Pickett's charge coming in there? What's the young lieutenant that lit the cannon off that took down General Armistead? You don't think that's hard? They all died, right? Same war. Come on. You don't think it's hard? Hard for those guys. Hard for Rosie the Riveter. Hard for everybody. I don't want to hear how hard it is. Yes, I know it's hard.
And also remember, Steve, which is also kind of poignant in this context, just like all of our wars, this is a war to liberate people, to make people free. It's part of our DNA, people. Get on board.
This is what Reagan was about. He freed 1 billion people in Russia and the Soviet Union and in Eastern Europe. Of course, because of our great foreign policy and guys like McMaster's. Oh, he's got a big book out. He's now Mr. China. He's now Mr. China. He's got this big thing in the Atlantic. He's got a big idea of China. He's a phony. Go to the PBS special on American trade. I finished that, and I said, the only way I'm going to participate, you've got to put this on there. And I think I drop an F-bomb and call him a blank liar, okay? Because he's a stone-cold liar. He's one of these Russia guys running around, wants to get us in a war with Russia, wants to get us more in Syria, lying to the President of the United States, lying to his face about Afghanistan. That's why we're still buried in Afghanistan. Not paying attention to China. Did I just see today somebody hand him? He's on now the board of Zoom. Mm-hmm. Is Zoom? I don't know if Zoom's PLA or Ministry of State Security, but if you're on Zoom, trust me, all your stuff's being sucked up by CCP. Okay, so if you're in Zoom, just understand. I think it's state security. I think state security is a combo. It's a combo platter of the CIA and the FBI. They are tough hombres. Okay? And McMaster's, I think, now on the board of directors, board of advisors, sucking little dollars off that. Is that volunteer? Don't think so. This is what you got. Hoover Institute, good going, Hoover. Hoover, can we just ask a question? How many of your guys are working, are being paid by the CCP? How many guys are working for front organizations paid by the CCP? I don't see the high and mighty Hoover Institute. Let's do a roll check. He's up there writing a big book coming out in September. I'm just thinking. I wonder if that says anything negative about President Trump. Just randomly, it's just going to drop after Labor Day. Right, and I'm sure it's because now Morning Joe's talking about it, and the Atlantic, another very pro site, a pro-Trump site, is putting his new China theory. He's got this big strategy on China. He's always China. He's a stone cold liar. We are behind on this war with China because he tried to dampen Peter Navarro. He tried to dampen Pottinger. He tried to dampen all the economic warfare alternatives we had up. No, had to be more troops. He wanted more troops in Afghanistan. He wanted people up in Syria. You know why he wants them up in Syria? He wants to get in a shooting war with the Russians. That's what they want. And now we've got the Russians. Hey, the Russians not good guys. I spent my youth on a destroyer hunting Russian submarines. And then 3 years back in the Pentagon, God bless President Reagan, as a Grundoon, during the war to take down the evil empire as a Grundoon. So I spent 7 years of my life, 8.5 years of my life on that before I spent 8.5 years of my life taking down Hillary Clinton, right? I know who the enemy is, okay? I'm good about that. CCP, I guess the third. And look, I was a Grundoon on the first, Grundoon on the second. Now I'm a higher Grundoon on this. But I'm going to be relentless. We're going to call all these guys out. You're a phony. McMaster's, you're a total phony. And by the way, brother, when that book comes out, we're going to go through page by page and show every lie that you're telling. So today, get a copy of this. If you're one of McMaster's buddies, get it to McMaster's. Because, dude, anytime, any place, anytime, you want to debate this, you want to go through this, or what you did, okay, the blood of Afghanistan and all the lies you told Trump to his face, and you're a stone-cold liar, okay? And it's proven. We can go back and pull the records. We can go back and pull anything you want and look at all that summer of 17, everything you told the president of the state. By the way, people make mistakes. People make mistakes, and these are stone-cold lies, okay? There's not a deep state. It's in your grill. And remember, there are no coincidences. Once an eagle.
That's right. Once an eagle.
Where does it come? I say it's Rumi or one of the Persians. I think it's Zoroastrian. I just know it's ancient and it's from somewhere in North Africa or in Persia. Am I right?
It's old and sounds smart, so you like it.
Well, they're saying it came originally from the Greeks. It was Achilles' claim about one of his friends dying in the war, but it extrapolated over time.
It is from the Greek. Is from the Iliad.
They're claiming that's
Aeschylus,
the earliest.
not Achilles.
Yeah.
Aeschylus. So quote. So in the Libyan fable, it is told.
I say that Aeschylus. I may be wrong on that.
I looked it up, to be fair. I think it's Aeschylus.
Aeschylus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the Libyan.
By the way, he's my favorite playwright from the ancient times.
I'll just quote it for you in full. So in the Libyan fable, it is told that once an eagle stricken with a dart said, when he saw the fashion of the shaft, with our own feather, not by others' hands, are we now smitten.
This is the United States. By the way, the novel is called Once an Eagle. I think it's by Anton Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I think it's the only work of fiction that was required reading at the United States Military Academy. It talks about two officers from pre-World War II and their careers. One who's dedicated, like 12 o'clock high, to the mission. The other who's dedicated to his own personal ambition. Right? It's a very interesting. Nikki Haley, you ought to read that book.
It's 1,400 pages.
1,400 pages. It's a massive epic novel. It's made into a miniseries back in the 80s. That was a very #1 hit, I think, miniseries. But it's the saying that always haunted me. By our own hands, we are smitten. This is the United States, because we finance it. Now the time, it's all the scales are coming off your eyes, folks.
I think we should create a list of all these people, these Quislings who betrayed us for money. Maybe
we're going to do all that.
Maybe we should call it 30 pieces of silver.
Wow, the Judas goats. Okay, we're going to get to all that. Now we're going to do, we've got Jana Bianco. She's doing something, and eventually we're going to work out our technical problems. Now that she shifted from Puerto Rico to Tennessee, we still can't get her up on the Skype. But we're going to, the Evercrack production team, just so I don't have another temper tantrum on a commercial break, they have promised me they're going to work all this out.
The potato is broken.
Jana, thank you very much for joining us. What can people do to help you? This is outrageous that these bonds the Chinese Communist Party literally stiffed 20,000 American bondholders who really, in the goodness of their hearts, gave this money to help China develop. And we're not asking to, hey, take the railroads back or take the infrastructure back. It was given. But it's a debt. It's a sovereign debt obligation of the Chinese Communist Party. Why can't you just go today up to Wall Street and collect on this?
Well, hi, Steve. Thanks for having me on. Again, you can't go to Wall Street and collect on it, A, because China, the CCP, refuses to pay. You were talking earlier about the pro-China lobby in full force. Since I was on your show on Monday, let me tell you, we've had a lot of pushback, a lot of blowback from the pro-China lobby, which is in full force, saying, oh, gosh, why do you want to punish China? Well, first of all, the Chinese people, we adore, we love, we feel sorry for them. My heart breaks for them and for their freedom. Our problem is with the CCP, and they're refusing to honor their debt. This isn't a punishment. The president said it best. This is reciprocity. Americans pay their bills, we pay our debts, and we expect China to do the same. How can they be a superpower that they claim to be and not even pay their basic fundamentals of finance and their sovereign debt? I can assure you, if it was a debt that China is owed, like what we've seen in Sri Lanka and other places around the world, they just swoop in, they take people's ports, their infrastructure, their railroads, their airports, you name it. China will take it. But if it's a debt they owe, they will stiff you and the American people at every chance they can get.
So how can the American people help you because I would love to see some opportunity for you to take this debt and basically go start seizing Wan Shan and Xi's personal tens of billions of dollars of real estate in Midtown Manhattan. What do you need from the American people? What could help the American Bondholders Foundation to move the ball forward and make sure 20,000 deplorables get their money?
This is very simple. Look, China holds 1.2 trillion in U.S. Treasuries. We see all these politicians on parade saying, oh, well, let's just don't make a payment to China on the treasuries they hold of ours, or let's just take it. Well, we cannot do that. We must always uphold the full faith and value of the American dollar. It would put us in the same boat as China is, in default. But we can do a debt swap. And what American people need to do, first of all, they need to get mad. We need to stop the dependence on China, and they need to call the president, call their congressional representative to say, you need to support the president. And using ABS bonds to offset the debt, which is done every single day. This isn't something out of some sci-fi. We swap debts all day long at the Treasury and just swap these bonds to extinguish the debt, pay China with their own paper. It's very simple. This isn't complicated. It's just the pro-China lobby in force trying to stop it and trying to prevent it from happening. Wall Street trying to prevent it from happening. Technically, if you look at the metrics and criteria of how Standard & Poor's, Moody's and Fitch, and the Securities and Exchange Commission rate countries, China paid Great Britain for these very same bonds. Why? Because Margaret Thatcher stood up to China and said, no. You're not going to access our capital markets any longer. You're not going to take another dime from our people until you start paying back what you owe. And China took a step back and said, whoa, okay, we better pay these bonds. And they did. That was in 1987. So right now, China has unfettered access to U.S. capital markets, and they need shut down until they can pay for their defaulted sovereign debt.
Jonna, we're going to get all your access to Twitter and all your access to the site. Look forward to having you back on next week. We're going to daily keep updating this, and we're going to have you back on a regular basis to tell the American people. Jonna Bianco, she's fighting for you, the American Bondholders Foundation. Deplorables, 20,000 American families are owed money by the Chinese Communist Party. Why don't we ought to snatch that ambassador, maybe hold him as a debt hostage? Just kidding. Then he couldn't write op-eds for the Washington Post, little whiner. Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to be back. We're going to talk about the famine. We're going to talk about we're shipping beef to China, no beef to Wendy's in a moment.
Uh-oh, there you go. Slow slicing fruits, veggies, and those stingy onions that bring you to tears. But not anymore. Introducing NutriChopper, the compact handheld speed slicer that cuts up to 10 times quicker than a knife. Watch. You can have one slice or 10 perfect slices at once. Amazing! You can just julienne, or you can bundle slice julienne sticks at lightning speed. With NutriChopper, you can slice the entire onion or mince a mound of onions and never have time for tears. Why slice a single apple wedge when you can wedge it all in one snap? NutriChopper comes with the razor-sharp interchangeable stainless steel blades you need to make all of the cuts you want and all incredibly quick. Chop thick slices, chop thin slices, chop cubes, chop sticks, and wedge whole fruits and vegetables in just 1 second. Slice it and cook it right in the pan, right on your stove. Chop and slice right into the pot for a family-sized stew with no mess. Snap and slice a fruit salad for the kids right into the bowl in seconds. Slice up a healthy salad for a quick and easy meal on the go. Cube meats and cheeses quick, in a snap. And NutriChopper comes with a perfect portion container and fresh-keeping lid so you can slice it, seal it, and store it all in one. To clean, simply rinse or rack it in the dishwasher. Then lock it to store it safely in a drawer. And now the NutriChopper with the thin slice, thick slice, wedge, and cube blades, and the slice and store container and lid, a value of over $40, is yours for just $19.99. But wait! Order now and we'll even pay the shipping for you. You get the complete NutriChopper set with blades and container with lids, all for just $19.99 with free shipping. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-927-4071 or go online at NutriChopper.com. That's 1-800-927-4071 or go to NutriChopper.com. Order now.
Hello, I'm William Shatner, and you may not know this about me, but years ago, I was diagnosed with a sleep disorder. And like millions of others, I was prescribed sleep equipment. Did you know sleep equipment manufacturers recommend daily cleaning? That's why I use SoClean. It's the perfect complement to my daily routine, and it's hassle-free. SoClean is fast and easy. It keeps my sleep equipment fresh every day without the need for disassembly.
With SoClean, daily maintenance is a snap. All you do is place your equipment in, close the lid, and walk away. You can try SoClean risk-free for 30 nights. Order now and get a $50 rebate.
SoClean is so fast and gives you peace of mind that your sleep equipment is fresh each time you use it.
Call 1-800-648-4349. And for a limited time, get a $50 rebate. Call 1-800-648-4349 or go to SoClean.com.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Once an eagle, stricken and hit by an arrow, said, by my own hand I am smitten. That is the United States of America. That book, that novel's required reading at the United States Military Academy because it tries to show the difference between duty and self-interest, right? It's a great moral fable about that. If you get a chance, and I think it is 1,400 pages long, but you can't put the thing down. It was a big miniseries, but the lesson it was trying to say, it was about the United States. It's not about these army officers. It's about the country. It's about duty to the country versus personal ambition. Wall Street, you're all living great. All the corporates are all living great. How's history going to judge you? I'll tell you, it's going to judge you. It's going to judge you. You sold out your country. Okay, you sold out your country. And we're going to identify the Amanda Bennett's and the Susan Thorntons up at Yale, right? Thank God she's retired. Hey, Biden, is she on your short list? Is anybody asked Biden who's on your short list? Is Susan Thornton going to be Undersecretary of State in the Biden administration? Is that what Beijing Biden? China Joe Biden, is that what Beijing Biden's going to do? Biden, who's going to be your State Department? Mike Pompeo, little guy from Kansas, he's on fire on this topic. Remember, 4 days in a row, they beat him up. They just gave me 2 days. He's 4 days, right? But of course, he is the Secretary of State. He's got Kissinger's job. I'm just some schmendrick in a basement with 3 other deadbeats talking smack, right? But you know what? I hit their hot button. It's their personal assets. It says, Steve, you're the first guy, CCP versus Chinese people. Man, they're freaking out about that. But they're really freaking about it. You're saying, hey, they're supposed to be communists, and they're sitting on tens of billions of dollars. First, we got to get the Tories all on the payroll, right? Cameron and Tony Blair. He's not a Tory, but all the British elites on the payroll of Huawei. Right? Let's go through Belgravia, and for the British people, I think the real estate in England is $9 trillion, actually 2x like what the economy is. It's some enormous, at the top of the game. I'm sure it's not now. It's dangerous for the economy because the real estate is so overpriced. Why? Every bad dude in the world, every princeling from Saudi Arabia, by the way, that is now out destroying we got double black swan, as Bloomberg calls it, destroying the oil fields. If you're in the Permian Basin, if you're up in the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania, if you're in the Bakken up in the Dakotas, guess what? You're not going to have a Merry Christmas this year. You know why? Compliments of the Saudis, right? The Saudis. Is Pompeo on fire this morning?
He is. He is definitely on fire. He's had a press conference this morning. There was a bit of a testy exchange with BBC reporter Barbara Usher, and we're going to play a little bit of the clip. But he said, it was a question about defending the Wuhan lab comments from Sunday. And Secretary Pompeo said, we don't have certainty there is significant evidence that this came from the laboratory. Those statements can both be true. I've made them both. Administration officials have made them. They're all true. And he goes, I'm not sure what it is about the grammar that you can't get.
To our English cousins.
Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it there, Barbara. Here's let's go a little bit of the clip with the secretary, and you can tell he has he doesn't seem all that psyched.
Mr. Secretary, hello.
I just want to go back to Nike's question because it's kind of puzzling. You had all these statements. General Milley, she mentioned about he doesn't know. Dr. Fauci said there was evidence that strongly indicated the virus evolved in nature, not in a lab.
Yeah, no, that's all
reports
consistent.
that
That's all
intelligence sharing among Five Eyes shows it's very
we've been
unlikely
through
it
it,
came
Barbara.
from a lab, and so on. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
And also, the ICA statement last week doesn't sort of talk about any evidence. Are you basing your assertion on information that all of these parties do not have? And a second question,
Barbara, let me just put this to bed. Your efforts to try and to spend your whole life trying to drive a little wedge between senior American officials. It's just false. Barbara, every one of those statements is entirely consistent. Every one of them. Lay them down together. There's no separation. We're all trying to figure out the right answer. We're all trying to get to clarity. There are different levels of certainty assessed at different places. That's highly appropriate. People stare at data sets and come to different levels of confidence. Every one of us stares at this and knows the reality. The reality that this came from Wuhan. Every one of us stares at the situation and says, who can provide the answer to precisely where patient zero was from, where this actually came from? We all know who can unlock the keys to that. Every one of those leaders, whether it's Dr. Fauci or General Milley or myself or the president, we all know how to get to this answer. That's where the focus needs to be. It's where
BBC, suck on that. Come on. By the way, was that a virtual press conference, or were they actually in a room? Because I'm gonna stop yelling at Vish and Dan because they got the same technical problems. You know, you can't hear each other. You're talking over each other.
No, you're clearly in the room.
They're in the room. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. But then, and she wouldn't still. She kept going. Okay,
Who's
Raheem,
the reporter there?
Raheem. Okay, this is Raheem.
Barbara Usher. Barbara.
Okay, Raheem. Okay, it's called BBC.
Yes.
Let's do your job. Get on top of it, like you got on top of the London School of Economics. That guy's now. They came up with a new name, right? He's not even listed as a guy anymore with your London School thing.
Yeah, that's right. They've changed the one we did. The Hanan Hussein, who we outed the other day as this fake LSE security analyst. We did the story on it, and the CCP actually changed. CGTN changed his affiliation on their website. He's now no longer listed as an LSE. He's now at the Pakistani, some think tank in Pakistan. We're running that think tank down because it looks like it's tied to 7 China-based think tanks.
CGTV, you got to get better than this. I mean, you guys, when you were at BBC,
get this past me, you got problems.
No, you're pretty good. But Raheem's on the case. By the way, Raheem will make your life miserable. Ask all the radical jihad guys. Ask the guys in Brussels.
Ask Tom Fowdy. We just popped a story about him. No, but Barbara Usher is a Canadian, to be fair. All right? So I think she's on your side of the world. You have to deal with that.
Oh, it's CBC, not BBC?
No, it's BBC, but she's Canadian.
Barbara. Babs. Hey, Babs. we're come on, Babs. By the way, I don't have a problem with tough questions, but I love just parsing. BBC, hey, look, note to self, Barbara, why are you not pressing up the ambassador for the little wimpy op-ed he wrote in the Washington Post? Why is the BBC not in the grill of the Chinese Communist Party?
Can I just ask a real quick question? You mentioned Tony Blair earlier, and Tony Blair does actually describe himself as right-leaning. You said Tory, not really a Tory, but it kind of is Tory, especially if you ask this current Labour Party. He's definitely a Tory. What was Blair doing with Wendy Deng? That's what I want to know.
Inquiring minds want to know. Wendy Deng. Is Wendy Deng an intelligence asset of the Chinese Communist Party? Just saying.
We do have something for Barbara Usher.
Yeah. We got. What do you got?
Oh, here we go.
Bye-bye, Babs. Mike Pompeo just gave you the casket meme.
Full casket, baby. Okay, we'll see you back here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Once an Eagle. See you tomorrow.
At Leaf Filter, we're on a never-ending journey to end gutter cleaning forever. Whoa! Way too dangerous, Bill. Say goodbye to that ladder. Way too clogged, Melissa. Those black gutters are causing serious damage to your home. Look at these cracks in your foundation. Leaf Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system, will keep you safe and protect your home. Leaf Filter's stainless micromesh screen fits over your existing gutters and is guaranteed to filter out everything except for water. No more leaks.